Hey everybody, hope everyone's having a good day. Uh, I'm just relaxing here with Spartacus. He's loving the opportunity to enjoy his summer day. Anyway, so I just want to drop a quick video, and anytime I really kind of understand something to a deeper level, I feel excited to share with someone. Uh, and I want to share with you guys, see what you guys think. So, the subject that I want to talk about is exchange of energy. In particular, exchange of financial energy and other types of energies. And what does that mean? Because if you think about it, everything is energy essentially, different types of energy, and there's a either an increased amount of energy or decreased amount of energy, or the quality of the energy is different. So if we look at an emotion such as love, the quality of that energy has a certain frequency that can be measured, or fear. So the amount of energy in fear is much less than energy in love. So fear is way more denser in its frequency, for example. So um, the more aware we can become, at least for myself, the more aware I can become about how energy is moving through me or energy around me. So I'm really fascinated with consciousness of energy. And when you look at it from that perspective, you take away the judgment of it, right? So uh, when you judge something, you distance yourself from it. So, for example, if you judge a person as being good or bad, you are essentially distancing yourself from that experience. But if you experience it, you yourself can have a feeling about it. So if I judge someone to be bad, instead of judging them to be bad, I can feel the impact that has on me. So if someone's hurting someone else, I can allow myself to feel the impact of that has on myself, right? Or if someone is loving or I perceive as being good, then instead of placing a judgment on them, I just let myself feel what what the impact is on me. Does it in does it expand my feelings? Does it contract my feelings? Like what's the story behind it? So anyway, um, so in this video in particular, I want to focus on the energy of exchange. So this will really change how you look at the world and how you interact with the world. So for example, when you buy goods or services, okay, um, it's an exchange of energy. So for example, if someone is giving you a pair of jeans, you're receiving that energy that was placed in production of those jeans. And what you're giving back is you're giving back money for that energy, essentially. And so you're enjoying that product and you're giving back the energy of money. Okay. So if you think about in nature, the like a plant, like a tree, would receive the energy of the sun and would give back the energy of fruit. So it would use the sun and the energy of water and the energy of nutrients to create something and and uh, um, and produce that and then offer that as well. So one thing that's interesting that I recently found out about the laws of energy in regarding giving and receiving is when you receive something, especially something that has consciousness in it, right? So they're very different than receiving a pair of jeans, but consciousness, like for example, receiving information, receiving healing, receiving awareness, um, going to have a therapy session, going to have um, someone's offering to teach you something along those lines. What's actually happening is that when you are giving back something for what you're receiving, you're actually allowing yourself to receive a greater amount of it. You see, so instead of just being takers, you're actually circulating the energy. So you're receiving and you're giving back. And that allows you to receive even more. So then you can give back more, or you can produce and provide something to someone else. So, for example, the information here, I've received it, and so I'm giving it back. I'm giving it to someone else. So I'm sharing, I'm circulating the energy. Okay. Um, this also applies for when you're receiving, um, like you're paying for something. So let's say you're paying for a session. Um, and this is very fascinating because I never even considered it. But when you're paying for a therapy session and you're trying to pay less, for example, as least amount as possible, what you're doing is you're actually cutting off your own ability to receive the benefit of this, of whatever it is that the person is providing you. Now, you can either give back with money. So, for example, if you're giving back a certain amount of money for the time and energy that was placed for you, that's one way. Let's say you don't have money to give, right? Let's say you're struggling financially. The amount of gratitude that you give back, that's another form of energy that you're returning to this person. Um, and another thing is your willingness. So you're implementing the information that you've received, or you're sharing it with someone else. So you're moving the energy. But if you're in a state of taking, right? So you don't say thank you. You're not grateful for what you're receiving. You feel entitled. You feel like that you should have been giving something more than what you got. So just lack of gratitude and entitlement, um, and like basically hoarding it or just taking the energy of taking. So what that does is it prevents the circulation. So you're actually not going to receive. This is the crazy part, is that the people, for example, who are takers, what they're doing is they're blocking their own receptivity. So they're not actually going to benefit from what they're taking, and they're always going to want more, and they're always going to feel dissatisfied with what they're getting because they're not actually contributing the energy back, and so they're not receiving the energy fully. You see, and they're not getting the pleasure and the benefit of it. So when you're receiving something, whether it's by donation or it's a charge, or by charge, or even for free, in order to benefit from whatever you're receiving, experiment, uh, pay a little bit more, stretch yourself a little bit more, um, uh, tap into your gratitude for what you're receiving. Um, Take a risk and implement the information, like so you're moving the energy of receiving, and you're giving. So the more you give, um, the more with like your generosity, it comes back to you. So when you're receiving, it's very important to give, and then again you're going to be receiving and giving, and the benefit of that, because if you think about it, this applies to every part of your life. So in a relationship, if one person is always giving and one person is always taking, what does that build? Like that's going to be a resentment on one hand. And what does that give the other person? Entitlement. And when that giving is going to stop, where does that leave the other person? I mean, that is, they're actually not appreciating it. They're not actually necessarily going to enjoy the deeper enjoyment, maybe like a greed type of enjoyment that always has a negative long-term effect, right? Because it's operating through a different frequency of energy, just like what I mentioned as far as love and fear, right? The frequency of giving and gratitude is much higher than the frequency of taking and entitlement. And so I encourage you to play around with this and notice next time you are receiving some sort of a service or a gift or a favor, right? Instead of just focusing on taking, focus on receiving and then giving back. and notice what comes. You can give back as gratitude, like deep, deep appreciation for what you got, and just really project that feeling towards the source. You can do it with money because money is a form of energy. You can do it with service of giving something back, and notice what happens, right? Whenever there's a disbalance, there's always something underneath. Usually, it's codependence of one way or another. So I hope you enjoy this video. Please leave your gratitude if you choose, a thumbs up or a comment, what you think about it, what your experience has been in your life about giving and receiving, the exchange of energy. Um, and if there's any other subject that you're interested in me making a video, please let me know. I'd be happy to do so. And until next time, cheers.